We have the Elantra N, Hyundai's high-performance sedan.
Did you say Elantra? Don't you mean Elantra N?
Tomatoes, tomatoes.
Either way you say it, it's fast.
What a sound.
And it's real. It sounds loud on the outside as well. We are in the Elantra N. What's under the hood, Andrea?
A 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 6-speed manual or an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, 276 horsepower and 289 pound-feet of torque. Front-wheel drive only, and Hyundai recommends premium fuel, but you can put regular in. It gets up to 498 kilometers, 310 miles to every fill.
So this car is sold with just one trim. What do you get? What are the key standard features?
It comes with a 10.25-inch touchscreen, a 10.25-inch digital driver display, wired Apple Carplay and Android Auto, a wireless charger, a head-up display, a manual driver and passenger seat, leatherette and faux suede interior, heated front seats, a heated steering wheel, sunroof, and an 8-speaker Bose sound system. In the US, the sunroof is not available with the manual transmission.
We reviewed the Kona N just a few days ago. We'll put the card right up here. With that vehicle, lots of N buttons here. What are we going to put it in?
We're going to put it in S for subscribe. And if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So please like and subscribe, but also follow on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea for a sneak peek behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code MOTORMOUTH to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.
Overboost mode.
Ooh, that adds an extra 10 horsepower. It's the GNS. Isn't it? What does it say on the button?
NGS.
NGS.
Yeah.
N Grin Shift.
Yeah.
Stupid name. Why don't they just put boost on there?
Boost would be perfect. That's what I say. I just say the overboost button.
Yeah.
And you get an extra 10, like Zach said, in a 20-second period of time.
I like that. That's good when you want to get away from idiots at a traffic light or something.
Yeah.
But you know what? We just mentioned it a moment ago. We had the Kona N, and we have to talk about that in comparison to this because they're very different. And I would say that the Kona N maybe skews a little bit younger. This one maybe a little bit of a mature enthusiast because of the longer wheelbase. It has a slightly more compliant ride. I like it better.
The suspension is firm, but depending on which drive mode you put it in, eco, normal, sport, or you can customize it just the way that you like it.
And I think that for me, the best is I like the sporty engine transmission, but I put the suspension in a little softer for city bumpy roads.
This is definitely equipped for a dynamic drive. It comes with an electronically controlled suspension, high performance brakes, limited slip differential, and an active variable exhaust system.
And I think also for the more mature enthusiasts out there, it comes with a manual transmission.
Yep.
And that is pretty cool that they're still offering that. The Kona N, unfortunately, has two drawbacks. No manual, no all-wheel drive. This one isn't pretending to be something it isn't. It's a front driver, compact car that's fun to drive. Manual transmission is the way I would get it. Would you get it with the dual clutch or manual?
Totally with the dual clutch. First off, I get this NGS overboost with the dual clutch, which you can't get enough of. I swear, you just continually use it. So this is sport mode, quite loud. Put it into normal.
Quiets right down.
Yeah, quiets down.
And the suspension gets softer.
Put it in eco. Well, that's sport again, eco. It's quite nice. Like, you could really use this as your daily driver. You would find it quite comfortable.
And the eco, if you're doing a long highway run, would be very, very comfortable. But there you go. The way I would set up eco is I would have the eco engine
Yeah.
but the firmer suspension for highway, because I
Yeah.
like the firmer suspension
Sure.
on highway. So really, the whole thing is customizable, which is very, very cool.
And one more thing to point out, Zach and I have found that the steering is quite heavy.
Much heavier than the Kona N.
Mm-hmm.
You would think they have a lot of shared components, but no, this has a totally different feel and a totally different look. You know what? This car, when it first came out, we kind of bashed on it with all the weird creases and angles.
Yes.
And it's still, when I see a regular one of these, I go, I'm not quite sure it's going to age very well. But when you put the N treatment on this, it transforms the car. It makes it look really cool.
And these red accents, wow, they really add to the sporty vibe of the vehicle. It comes with 19-inch high-performance summer tires.
The biggest thing for me is the front grille. They have these black features on the outside corners that really make the front of the car look hot. You get the extra chin spoiler. Speaking of spoilers, the one I'm not crazy about is the trunk spoiler. I think it's a little bit too boy racer for my taste, but I'm sure a lot of people will like it. And then the angles all kind of work when you have it treated like this.
I think it just all blends in together nicely. When you look at the profile of the vehicle, it looks good. And I'm not a huge fan of the looks of the regular Elantra, but I'm really loving this.
I feel like I'm separated from you, Andrea. I have this big wall between us, this buttress.
Yeah.
This
What do you think of that? Do you like that?
I don't mind the handle, but it reminds me a lot of the Corvette. Corvette has this big, even higher thing. It's a design feature. There's some design things they did in here, Andrea, like the big round eye looking at you over there.
know.
We still can't figure out why they have that over there. I would have put an N. I thought an N would look good there.
Well, we know it's for the hybrid. The hybrid has features on it. But for all the other models, Hyundai didn't change anything. And considering this is an N model, yeah, add an N.
Yeah, that rounding is stupid. All right, so those are some interesting choices, some excellent choices. They left the buttons, not like the Germans where they're taking all the buttons out of the GTI and the Golf R. They have buttons here.
This is a driver-focused cockpit. It's comfortable. I find that the seats really cradle your body. There's enough lumbar support. And it does only come with a manual driver's seat.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a deal breaker for you. I would prefer to have a power driver's seat, especially if you're sharing with somebody in the family.
I would suspect that this is a solo car. Somebody buys this car and it's their car and they probably don't share it. I agree, it would be nice to have the power seats, but these seats, in comparison to the Kona N seats, are way more comfortable. They look cooler with the illuminated N in the headrest, and overall, they're the ones I would choose.
The touchscreen in here is very easy to use. I really like Hyundai's infotainment system. It's a 10.25-inch screen. It comes with wired Apple Carplay and Android Auto, no wireless available. And the digital driver display is also 10.25 inches.
Now they give you so many options with all the N buttons on the steering wheel, to the point where they have a tutorial you can read through in the head unit. So it's not that simple, but I think, as I mentioned, it's sort of a one-person kind of car. They'll set it up the way they want and then they're done with it. Now this is a biggie. We're going to get into it in a moment with questions, coffee, and cars. One thing I want to mention, Andrea, in the trunk there is a rear strut brace that goes between the rear seats. It's red, it looks super cool, but it limits putting longer items in through the trunk into the cargo area.
Right, and this also doesn't come with a temporary spare tire. It has a tire repair kit.
The spare tire is not temporary. All right, let's get into it. Your questions about the back seat.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
That back seat seems especially roomy. Does the Elantra drive big? It looks long in pictures and in person.
No.
It's incredible. It doesn't drive big at all, but you're right. It is spacious, and the Elantra offers the best second row space in this class. But you get this great performance, and it feels like you're in a more of a compact vehicle.
Back to the point we made earlier about the Kona N as an alternative to this, because this is longer, has a longer wheelbase, it's a better car to live with every single day. It's more compliant over the bumps, but still very planted.
Yeah. How is the dual clutch transmission in this vehicle? Is it as clunky as some dual clutch transmissions can be? This is really smooth. I'm a huge fan of this dual clutch transmission.
It's a wet dual clutch. What that means is they have external cooling outside the transmission. It was built and designed for SUVs, to be honest with you, and they use it in this high torque application. There are actually settings in the N mode for the transmission for on and off creeping. So it is adjustable, but it is not like a regular torque converter transmission. You have to get used to the fact that this is really a manual transmission automatically controlled.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're in reverse, but you're moving forward. Like it can be a little bit of give and take, right?
Yeah, just like you're letting the clutch in and out of the manual. Yeah,
I think it's incredible what Hyundai has accomplished here with this dual clutch transmission. I know with Volkswagen, some people complain about the dual clutch transmission being a bit jerky, but I like them both, and I think it's just something you have to get used to. We put out a lot of content each week on the Motormouth YouTube channel, and it's really easy to find.
All you do is go to the YouTube search bar and type in Motormouth, the name of the channel, then the brand you're looking for. In this case, it would be Hyundai. Then all of our videos pop up. It's that easy.
This or the GTI. I know you like the GTI, both awesome cars. Zach is like such a huge fan of the GTI.
It's the price. The GTI, these are Canadian dollars because that's what I know. It's $31,500 base model manual transmission. That's kind of the one I would go for. Maybe add the wheel and sunroof package for $1,200. It's a screaming deal. It's one of the true deals in the auto industry right now.
And with that base model, you do get buttons. If you don't get the base model, you're not getting the buttons. This Elantra N is full of buttons.
I do like that better, yeah.
It is nice. I think that the Elantra N has a sportier look. The GTI maybe a little bit more conservative looking.
Well, it's a hatchback, so it's got a boxier shape, but you could also argue it's more functional.
Yeah.
The real sweet spot, the deal of the bunch, is the GLI, Andrea. That's like $31,000 fully loaded, maxed out, everything in it. That thing's a screaming deal.
That's coming up in our hot topic.
Oh, okay, good. While we're at it, let's get to our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Given the stiff suspension setup, how is it to daily drive it and live with it? And how would you compare it to the GLI? Snap, crackle, pop.
Love it. Now, this is a tale of two countries. The GLI in the United States is not a screaming deal.
Nope.
In Canada, the GLI is a screaming deal.
Yeah.
And when you compare the two cars, on paper, they kind of stack up kind of close to each other because they're front drive, compact sedans. And how do they fall in when it comes to price?
It's about a $7,000 to $8,000 difference. This Elantra N is more expensive, whether you get the manual or the dual clutch transmission. The GLI is priced so well in Canada.
In the States, they're roughly the same price.
Yeah.
So you have to ask yourself, the one thing about the GLI is it comes same thing, really one trim, fully equipped, but that engine has less power than this.
Yeah.
And it runs on regular gas. So if gas is your thing, the GLI might be the way to go.
The GLI gets better fuel economy, whether it's manual or the DCT. The Volkswagen comes with a smaller 8-inch touchscreen. This gets a bigger touchscreen.
And the Volkswagen has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This one you got to plug in.
And the GLI has the beautiful button-filled interior. They haven't switched that model over yet. And I think when it comes to exterior looks, the Elantra N is edgier.
This is a cool looking car. As I mentioned earlier, it might age out a little faster because of this edgy design. The GLI is classic German, understated, performance looking, and it's only available with the black wheels, which I don't love.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think this one kind of wins on design. So this car has more power, but there are similarities, both available with a dual clutch, both with limited slip front differentials, both with adaptive suspension.
There are quite a few fun cars to choose from in this category. Let's see what else you can buy.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Volkswagen GLI with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 228 horsepower and a starting price just under $32,000.
The The Mazda 3 Turbo Sedan with a 2.5-liter turbo four-cylinder, 250 horsepower on premium fuel, 227 on regular gas. It has a starting price just under $37,000.
The Subaru WRX with a turbocharged 2.4-liter flat four, 271 horsepower, and a starting price just under $31,000.
The Honda Civic Si with a turbo 1.5-liter four-cylinder engine with 200 horsepower and a starting price just under $34,000.
So there are 4 fun cars for you to consider.
I do like the all-in pricing idea, Andrea. I just wish the price was lower, so let's get into it.
There is just one trim to choose from, but 2 transmissions. The manual starts at just over $39,500 Canadian and just over $32,000 in the US. The dual clutch transmission is just over $41,000 in Canada and just over $33,500 in the US.
Here's the fuel economy. 12.1 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7.9 on the highway. That's 20 miles per gallon city, 30 miles per gallon highway. Hyundai offers a warranty of 5 years, 100,000 kilometers, or 60,000 miles. In the United States, you get complimentary maintenance covered for 3 years or 36,000 miles. Lightning round. 2 things we like, 2 things we like to see improved.
You can't beat how well this handles.
I'm kind of sold on the way it looks.
I would love a power driver seat.
That's what I was going to say.
Well, we can both agree on that one.
Need a power driver seat.
Hyundai nailed it with this Elantra N. It is a ton of fun.
As a daily, I'll take this over the Kona N. This video is brought to you by Car Cost Canada. Get the dealer's cost, list of rebates, plus discounted interest rates. Use the promo code Motormouth to become an expert member and get extra searches. The link is in the description below.